What do you do when you wake up and you feel like shit? When you have no motivation, the energy to get out of bed, to go do the morning routine, the cold plunge, to do the workout, all that stuff, you're just like mentally fried and you're like, I am lethargic. I don't feel it, right? What do you do on those days? How do you actuate yourself to go and take action? I'm thinking about this today because I am having one of those days. I was telling the news just now. I went skiing last night with a buddy, and we did night skiing. It was like from 7 till 9 p.m. Now, if you don't know anything about me, I am usually in bed by like 8:30, like legit bed by 8:30. I pass out by 9. I'm getting out of bed every morning around 5. And so getting back at 9:30 after this adrenaline-inducing activity that you can't shut your mind off, and you spent all this time out in the cold, so you're just in this heightened state of like awake. It just led to me getting a really terrible night's sleep. And so I woke up this morning and I did something incredibly rare, which was I gave myself the permission to continue sleeping, to get more rest. And I didn't get out of bed until about 6:30. So I gave myself an extra 90 minutes of sleep. And there was a time in my life when I wouldn't have done that. There was a time in my life where I would have felt so much deep shame and guilt associated with that, that I would have just gotten up and I would have just grinded through the morning, and I'd have done the routine and I'd have done all that stuff, but I would have been one notch below my full capacity. And one of the things I've learned as I've aged is that the power of a good night's sleep, of feeling rested in recovery, is far more important than any of the minuscule balls you could push forward when you're in your kind of de-optimized state. And so maximizing for a good night's sleep, super critical. But what do you do when you can't do that? Like, for whatever reason, the cats keep you up all night, they're meowing at the door, or something happened and you had to get up and, deal with a broken pipe or whatever, right? Well, the first thing is that you have to give yourself permission. You have to give yourself grace and a little bit of leeway. That's the first thing, because it's not going to do you any good to whatever you decide to do, whether that's get up and grind through, to judge yourself for not having done the work very well or for feeling like shit. And it's not going to do you any good if you decide to sleep in and also come down on yourself, right? And so that's the very first thing. And that's surprisingly difficult for a lot of high performers. If you're listening to this, giving yourself permission to do what's necessary for you. That took me a really long time to learn how to do that, and I'm still working on it. Truth be told, when I woke up this morning, I was still, because it's so rare for me to do that, I still had those feelings of like, oh, I'm already behind the 8 ball. I haven't executed this, and this. Usually I would have had this win, and this win, and now I'm mentally not in the right space. The rest of my day is going to be wasted. It's going to be a terrible day. It's really easy to fall into that mental space. And so what do you do from there to get back onto track, or to feel like you're getting onto track? For me, the first thing is to recognize that you are not a slave to your routine. The routine is designed to serve you. And we do our morning routines. We wake up, we do the cold plunge, we do the red light sauna, we do the journaling, the prime. We do that stuff to help put ourselves into that peak mental state. But it's not necessary. It's not required. It's helpful. It's a nice way to start the day, and it gives you a checklist to go through. But you have to be careful that you don't become a slave to it and associate in your mind, I can't have a good day unless I do X, Y, Z. Because as soon as that happens, as soon as you lose the morning, the rest of the day will be lost. And we use the inversion of this, which is that if you win the morning, you can win the day. Because we can take that positive momentum and carry it forward, right? But we want to be careful that the opposite doesn't become true. Just because you lost the morning doesn't mean you're going to lose the rest of the day. And when I was young, something that would happen all the time is I would fall off the horse around one particular habit, let's say, or I would miss a day of writing. And that one day of missing would then turn into 2 days, into 3 days. And then it would be like, oh, I'll get back on the horse on Monday, or I'll get back on the horse at the beginning of next month, right? We set these milestone dates for ourselves to say, that's when I'm going to start again. And it's really easy when you ruin your morning to say, I'll try again tomorrow. And you just chalk off the rest of just say the rest of the day is ruined, right? But if you want to be a true peak performer, if you don't want to wallow in that state, you have to be able to say it ends here. The bad day stops here, and from here on out is going to be a great day. And you could do that right now. It could be at 7 a.m., it could be at 9 a.m., it could be at 1 p.m. If everything that had come up to that point has been shitty and it's 3 in the afternoon, you can still say, I'm going to have a great rest of the day. You could make that decision rather than just writing off the rest of the day and say, I'll try again tomorrow. All right. Decrease the time between when you make the decision to change and when you take action. And so you need to know, like, what are your triggers? What are the things that you can do? And when you feel behind the 8 ball, when you feel shitty about yourself because you've ruined your morning, you've ruined your routine or whatever, like these narratives that we have in our head, you have to know that when you're in that lowered state, you technically know what to do. You know, okay, to change this, I need to go get some small wins. I need to go get into the gym. I need to, have a good meal. I need to feel a sense of progress, right? You can say that stuff to yourself, but for whatever reason, that self-actualization in the moment of, yeah, I know what I need to do, I just don't have it in me to do it. It's like, how do you get over that hurdle? And I don't have a good answer for you besides just a simple trick, which I found to be incredibly helpful, which is what I call scripting the fight scene, where you sit down with a piece of paper and you don't write for a long time. You don't have to spend 15 minutes on this. It could literally just be a 5-minute little thing where you dump down on the piece of paper, you journal, here's what went wrong. Here's how I'm feeling about it right now. And here's exactly what I'm going to do right now to change it, to turn the tide. This is the moment in the movie where the hero gets up off the canvas, they dust themselves off, and they go back to work. This is what I'm going to do next, right? And you write it out. You say, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get a 15-minute workout in, because I don't have my full hour that I would usually go. But I'm going to, it's okay to suck, but never skip. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it poorly, but I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this thing, right? Just writing it down and calling your shot has been immensely impactful and helpful for me to like turn the tide. And I had one of these experiences this morning. I used this technique, and here we are. It's now, what is it? About almost 11 a.m., right? And for the last 2 hours since I did that process, I've been back in the zone. The morning wasn't as productive as it could have been. Doesn't mean the rest of the day is going to be a wash, though. So take that technique, use it, be gracious with yourself. If you do have to miss, and you're not at your best, that's okay. It's inevitable. It's just the chaotic path of improvement. You're going to spend 50% of your time feeling above average, 50% of your time feeling below average. The trick is, how do we incrementally improve the average of the time we spend below average? And then what will happen is your time that you spend above average will increase. So that's how we improve over time. But don't be too hard on yourself, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.